is hashtag Let's Get Louder podcast. I am loud Miami fan. Call me Chase. You can call me LMF. But you can call me the loudest Marlins fan at Loud Miami Fan on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. And if you're my friend, you can find me on Facebook. This is the hashtag Let's Get Louder podcast again. Time to panic at Lone Depot Park. Or is it? Marlins making history last night. The fifth game of the season, equating to the fifth loss of the season. For the first time in the 31-year history, I guess now, Marlins have never finished with 5 losses to start the season. What has happened? The momentum, the celebrations. We signed Tim Anderson. We traded John Birdie. What has happened to this team that we have started 0-5? Going into spring, we were excited. We were happy. Well, not happy, but going in, we were excited. We knew that Sandy was the only pitcher injured, and you're seeing the ripple effect of not having Sandy Alcantara on your staff. You've gotten okay starts from Jesus Luzardo, Max Mayer. AJ Puck was not good in his first start. I'm going to see him tomorrow at LDP. Jesus Luzardo gets his second start of the season. He only made it like 5 1/3 inning, I think, his opening day. Ryan Weathers just took a beating regarding pitch count. Didn't do so bad in his 3 innings. And then Trevor Rogers, the same, only lasted 5, maybe 6. Doesn't really matter. Because the Marlins are 0-5. No one can get a win. And the bullpen, even if they come in with 4-run lead, they can't hold it. I mean, look, the offense is there. Marlins opening last night, scoring 4 runs in the first. The day before, 5 runs in the first. Offense goes dead after that. They can't score another run, and then they lose. Well, they scored a few more runs, but still lost. Nick Gordon hitting home runs in the clutch to tie games. Jazz Chisholm Jr. having a monster bomb grand slam this week. Avi Garcia, who everybody wants to boo, actually hit a home run. His first of the year, first since last April. But overall, man, that offense can't sustain what the bullpen hasn't given them. Tanner Scott wasn't good in spring and has not come out good. George Soriano, who was good in spring, has not had a good couple games. Brian Hoeing hasn't pitched since Friday when he needed to play mop-up for AJ Puck. Marlins have already DFA'd a pitcher, sent Declan Crowland down. He shouldn't have been sent down. This Birch guy is still on this roster for some reason. Is it panic time in Miami? We'll get into all that and more on this episode of the LMF podcast for sure. Before we resume, breaking news. The Marlins have made a move as I'm recording. The LMF hashtag Let's Get Louder podcast. The Miami Marlins, who are 0-5, have DFA'd off the 40-man roster. Not Avi Garcia. But it is Jacob Amaya. Why? Well, they picked up, it looks like, a third baseman from the Arizona Diamondbacks. This is live information during the LMF podcast recording. The Miami Marlins have picked up Emmanuel Rivera, third baseman from the Arizona Diamondbacks, who was DFA'd earlier. They have picked him up off the Diamondbacks from Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico's national team. Infielder, third baseman, Emmanuel Rivera. will join the Marlins organization. And to make the move on the 40 man, Jacob Amaya, the guy who was traded to Miami for Miguel Rojas to be the heir apparent, the future shortstop of the Marlins, who obviously is not as good as they thought he'd be. Jacob Amaya has been DFA'd. We'll see if he gets claimed or is optioned back into the Marlins farm system. But that's huge news. Emmanuel Rivera is now a Miami Marlin. What does this mean for the team? Well, we'll discuss that now because we'll get back onto our rant about the 0-5 start. But what this means for the team is they really do see Jake Berger as your first baseman moving forward. We'll see if Emmanuel gets to camp, gets to the stadium, wherever. If they bring him right up to be in the majors or put him in AAA, I think he'll be up in the majors and they'll probably send Jonah Bride down. But huge move for the Marlins here. I say huge, even though it's not a big spending move, but it's a future move. Because don't forget, next year we don't have a shortstop and we don't have a first baseman. Josh Bell's done after this year, probably traded at the deadline if they continue the way they're playing right now. Same thing with Tim Anderson. He only signed a 1-year deal. So we will see what happens with our team next year. But Emmanuel should be your starting Manuel Rivera should be your starting third baseman moving forward. So huge news there. Marlins 0-5 start. Pitching can't get out of the fifth inning. It's been rough. And hopefully this move and future moves help this team because we need our reserves. You have Eddie Cabrera, you have Braxton Garrett, you have Yuri Perez going through the injury list days and days to come off as they prepare back in the minors in AAA to get back up here to help this team. It's just been really ugly. I mean, look, the offense hasn't been horrible. The offense has come through for the most part. You put up a 4 spot, you put up a 5 spot, and your pitching is just so bad that it's not helping. Tanner Scott, I don't know for those watching, my shadows keep hurting me because of the sun here. I apologize. But Tanner Scott has not been great. They didn't trade him at his highest peak value. Fans, don't trade him. Dude had like 2 good months in the major leagues, as last year proved. But he wasn't the closer. He was thrusted into the closer role, but they even went out and got Robinson to be the closer. So Robertson, I should say. And Tanner Scott wasn't supposed to be the closer. He was always a setup guy. I could see Anthony Bender, who's pitched a little bit better, coming off Tommy John than the rest of the bullpen. Nardi's not the same, etc. But hopefully that picks up. But if it doesn't, we are in trouble, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, because this 0-5 team it only could go up from here, you'd hope. We can take the series versus the Angels. In baseball, it's all about winning series. You could take 2 of 3. You've lost the first. Win the next 2 versus the Angels. Get out of South Florida. Go to St. Louis. Hope to win 2 of 3 in St. Louis. You have an off day Friday. Thursday is the home opener in St. Louis for St. Louis. Then you have Friday off. Saturday, Sunday finishes the weekend. Kind of like the same schedule they had last year, where they had 4 versus the Mets, 3 versus the Twins, 3 versus the Mets to open up Citi Field last year. And they started out 1-4. They won the series versus the Twins, so they went up to New York 3-4, and then they lost 2 of 3 there. So you kind of hope for an equal to last year's start as far as the first week and a half would go. The only way to get there is to win 4 of the next 5 games, or else to at least tie last year. Then they went to Philadelphia, won 2 of 3 in Philly, came back 6-7. It's not going to be as easy as I think they go to Yankee Stadium first next week, and that is not going to be easy. So hopefully the Marlins could come through, get better. Again, I want to say the offense has been okay. Jake Berger's been great. He has, I think, 7 RBIs through the first 5 games. And he hasn't hit a home run yet. So you're waiting for his power to kick in. But any sort of uh, oomph to his bat's not there. But he is hitting the ball well, getting people in. Jazz, of course, has the 4 RBIs from his monster dong on Sunday, his grand slam home run. He is the Marlin. He has hit 3 straight. He's the only Marlin to hit 3 straight grand slams. 2 last year, 1 this year. Didn't wait long last year. I think we waited until September to get one. This one, he got it out of the way in the 4th game. Luis Ariz has started off a lot slower than he did last season. I think he'll be fine. Can't really complain about him. Luis Ariz is our hit machine. Josh Bell has not hit with power yet, but he has taken a lot of walks. And for a guy that didn't walk much last year, he's getting on base from the walk right now. Going through my head here again, Nick Gordon had 1 home run and RBI the next day. So he's doing all right at the plate. His defense is a little shady out in left field. Don't know if he should be out there. De La Cruz's bat has started a little bit colder. He has a hit a game, but it's a little bit cold as far as the power is concerned. He's almost hit a few out, but the warning track is not the seats. And in defense, he should not be on defense. I'm sorry. I love DLC, but his defense is shaky as well in left. Jesus Sanchez has been surprising to me, and we all know last season everybody thought I hate Jesus Sanchez. I do not. Jesus Sanchez has been a surprise to me a little bit. When they allow him to play, he's been good. He has a few hits this season. Love Sanchi, and his defense has been par. Really good out in right field. And Jonah Bride, I think he had a hit in his first game. We haven't had a hit. We haven't had a hit at the catcher's position, which is kind of scary. I think that's the worst of all of this. Is the catcher position still is bad. Fortes can't throw anyone out, and he can't get a hit. Bethencourt, everyone's scared to run against him. But he has yet to get a hit. So we need to get that catcher position. There's Joey Bart out there on waivers, I'd love to pick him up. He was a former 1st-round pick in 18 for the San Francisco Giants. His bat may not be well in their franchise, but little change of scenery never hurt somebody, and he's definitely better than at least one of the 2 guys. And why not take the chance on him? Even though they just picked up Emmanuel Rivera, I'd like them to pick up Joey Bart. We have nothing to lose if they're able to do that off waivers. I would actually very much welcome it. Trying to just go through the lineup in my head without even thinking about it right now of who else I may be missing. I said Abigail Garcia's. He's taken the booze. We've talked about that. My thoughts on him, hoping he just does well. He has a home run. He shushed the crowd up for at least 1 at-bat on Sunday. But after that, it's back to the double plays or the weak hits. Not even hits, the weak connecting to the bat that either get popped up or ground balls in the double plays. I think the Marlins have like 10 double plays in the first 5 games. That's unheard of. Got to get better at that. You're getting a runner on. You may have a guy on 3rd and 2nd or a 3rd and 1st, and their inning ends too quickly. Maybe play some small ball. Try some bunting. Waiting for Xavier Edwards to get called up. He's injured. That's why he didn't start on the roster. But hopefully he can get up here and provide some spark to this team. He is great at bunting, at the very least. Moving on into Vidal Brujan, I think he could be cut. I know Bendix made a few trades for him, and he's a Bendix guy, but I'm sorry, he's not a major leaguer, and you can't send him down to get better at this point. So really, at the end of the day, You need to move Vidal Brujan off this team, DFA him. He probably won't be picked up. So that's my thoughts on Vidal. Sorry, you don't get the chance to be bad on the team. You have to produce. So two guys they can cut are Garcia and Vidal Brujan from this roster. Bring up Dane Myers. At least if we're going to lose, let's lose with the players that make the fans happy, right? I think I've mentioned all the batters, at least the ones who have played in games. It's again, the pitching is just not good. It's sad to see. And you give Max Meyer credit. It was nice to see him. It's probably his best major league start. The first one, he didn't get out of 5 innings. He lasted 5 innings in this one. And then his second start, obviously, was the day he hurt his elbow and then has not had another in-game performance and real game performance since 2022. Sixto Sanchez returning to the bullpen. He's been okay. You want him to be at the 700 or you want him to be at 97 miles an hour. Unfortunately, he's just not that good anymore. You'd want him to be better. But hopefully he can build it up. New season. It's a new role for him in the bullpen. I mentioned Nardi's not good in there. I mentioned Soriano's just not been good. So is it panic time for the Marlins? And we'll discuss if it's going to be panic time after this. Because right now, you got to take a minute and go to intheclutch.com. You see the shirts in my videos. There's a lot more there that I don't have. Not only for the Miami Marlins. If you're just watching this podcast and you're a Marlins fan or a Phillies fan, Braves fan, Mets fan, Giants fan, Dodgers fan, a lot of Dodgers and Giant shirts with their new players, Cubs fan, go to intheclutch.com and check out their t-shirts, which are MLBPA approved apparel. Use code LMF at checkout. I love their shirts. You'll only see me in their shirts on videos and at the stadium this year. You'll see me in the new Marlins jerseys. But regarding intheclutch.com shirts to wear under it, comfortable, made to purchase. So you purchase it, they make it fresh for you. Go to intheclutch.com to see their apparel. And again, use code LMF at checkout or intheclutch.com/LMF. Either way works. You get a discount on your purchase. As a Marlins fan, is it time for me to panic? No, I did become a little harsh yesterday. If you check out my social media at Loud Miami Fan on Twitter and Instagram, look, drastic times causes and calls for drastic measures. I burned an LMF hat for the first time ever. I've been wearing the hat since like 2012. I own a lot of them. But this one that I've worn every game on videos, and we've lost every game for the first 5 games, I'm a very superstitious fan. So the first thing I go is, what can I do to change things up? Is it just change my socks, wash my shirts, take a shower, shave my hair? No, yesterday I decided to take a little anger out on the bad luck LMF hat. So you can see those videos of the LMF hat on fire. That was my way of saying, you know what, let's go team. It's BS that you're playing the way you are, but I'm with you, and I will do what I can to change the karma through superstition, I guess you would call it. 0-5 is rough. First time ever in franchise history. But, last year we went through an 8 or 9 stretch, and we still finished on top. I mentioned how we started last year at 1-4. So you had one more win at this point. And then you fell to 3-6. So is it horrible? No. Is it great? No. You got to bounce out of it. You got to get that first win of the season under your belt. And I believe they can do it against the Angels, 2 of 3 this series. They have 2 chances. You have your ace, Jesus Luzardo, on the mound tonight. AJ Puck can't do much worse than he did his first game. So hopefully he bounces back to his spring form, at least for 5 innings, his spring form. Because I believe that is his true form in spring. Don't know if it's all in his head. He was overwhelmed. I'll be there tomorrow at the game. Uh, that I will. So cheer them on in person. Look, if you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. And I'm one of those who will walk the walk and talk the talk. So I will be at the stadium tomorrow. I hope it's a day game. It's a 110 game. I don't expect more than 3,000 fans at the ballpark, especially if you're 1-5. Not even going to mention the other number, but if you're 1-5, you got to win home games to get fans out. You got to make fans excited. Difference between baseball, hockey, basketball, football, especially, is between hockey and basketball. There's mostly a day or two in between games, so it's not back to back where you're going to get so far under so quick. Um, Same concept for football, except there's a week between. And the beauty about baseball is there's a lot more games. So does 0-5 really mean that much? No. But it does kind of bring panic to fans like me. But you can't panic. It's too early. As Jazz said last year, I think the Marlins are like 3 games under at like I want to say 10 games into the season, 12 games into the season. And Jazz said, don't panic until we get to 30 games and we'll see where we are. And by 30 games, they were over 500. I think they were like 5 games or 3 games over 500. And Jazz knows what he's talking about. And he's in that clubhouse. And I trust Jazz. And, it's not time to panic yet because it's too early to panic. They're not a bad team. They're much better than their record right now would show. If you were to tell me the Marlins in the first 4 games coming out of spring would score 18 runs in their first 4 games, I'd say they're 3-1. Just not the way the ball bounced. Opening day, they should have won that game 4 times. They just don't play small ball. I don't get it. You know, at the 7th inning in Game 5, DLC hit a ground ball from the eye. It looked like he was safe. Skip usually challenges those, and he didn't challenge it. Would have been safe. Tie goes to runner. If worse, it was a tie. Could have changed the game. They're just not taking the chances, and they're not playing good defense. Too many errors in the first 5 games, whether they're counted errors or soft hits, because the left fielders can't catch the ball and let it fall in front of them. With that roof open, it's not an excuse. But with that roof open, it hurts. With the roof open, there's a lot of shadows for a 140 start. Those shadows don't end till about 6, and the game ends by 5. A lot of shadows on Sunday's game. I don't get it. Um, Even Saturday's 4:10 start. I don't believe in the roof open in general. I like my climate controlled stadium. I wasn't there, so I can't complain. But the players complained, and many look at Jazz and go, "Hey, use it as an excuse. You shouldn't make excuses." I don't think it's an excuse. I think he was telling the truth. We're used to the roof closed here. Why they have it open, no one knows. They don't practice with that roof open. They 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 don't. They practice with it shut. So your mentality in the game and the way your eyes are set and what you're expecting. And you could say, "Oh, the other team has the same issues," but it's different because the home team should have a home field advantage, whether that be the roof shut, roof open, whether they know the curves and the quirks of the stadium. If anything different is thrown at them immediately before the game, an hour before the game, 2 hours before the game, it changes their whole mindset. Baseball's a big mind f sport. I mean, you get in a drought, you drive yourself crazy trying to hit, struggling to hit. You make a couple errors. Can you play the field? You look at guys who can do so well and then do so bad because it's all in their head. It's not that they forgot how to play baseball, but they're trying too hard. In this case, over the weekend at least, not last night when they got their 5th loss, but over the weekend, they shot themselves in their foot a lot. Nick Gordon dropping some left field balls. De La Cruz dropping some left field balls. Berger should not, I know he's playing first again tonight, but Berger should not be playing first. He should be your third baseman, but that move that you just made tells me he's going to play more first base. He needs to keep his foot. He needs more training. You can't fault the guy for learning a position on the fly. You can fault the team for putting him in that position. And that I do fault the team. So Jake Berger really coming off hot, and that you have to be excited about because he's going to be here for another 3 to 4 years. You don't know how long Jazz is going to be here. He's making 2.5 million now or something around there. That's only going to go up, especially if he stays healthy and performs. Luis Arise will be a free agent after 2025. You don't know if he'll be dealt at the deadline. I mean, he's only hurting himself, unfortunately, in his start. Tanner Scott, who's started bad, he's going to be a free agent. So some of these guys, are not going to be Marlins next year. This is the year. This is the year after the World Series, basically, in 2003. The Marlins kept that team together. Everybody says there was a fire sale after. There wasn't a fire sale immediately after the World Series. The Marlins kept the bulk of that World Series team together for 3 years. Not immediately after the World Series, no. There were a few moves, and I compare that to this team. If you go, okay, well, your first baseman went from Derek Lee to Hesop Choi, and the worst in 03 was the catcher. You went from Pudge Rodriguez to Mike Redmond as your starter, I believe. They eventually traded for LaDuca, but let's talk immediately after when 04 started. You lost Birdie in this case. You lost Jorge Soler. I don't count Joey Wendell or Jacob Stallings as big pieces, but you lost two pieces, and you traded Birdie right before the season. Who knows what mentality that affected his relationships on the team. He went to New York Yankees, and he's doing well with them, and you got to be happy for that. I am. But it's not panic time for at Lone Depot Park. It's in a microscope. All right? Under a microscope. Because it's the beginning of the season and you're 0-5. You're not happy. I burned my hat. I'm not happy. I'm not giving up on this team, so let's not think that. I'm here. Whether they win one game or 90 games. I don't see them winning 90 games. I see them winning maybe 81 at this point. I think at the beginning of the season, I said 78 to 82. I hope they could finish at 500 with the start. Again, the timing does not affect that. It's just this pitching staff is missing Sandy Alcantara, and it's missing Yuri Perez, and it's missing Braxton Garrett. And even then, when those guys come up, you got to say, okay, well, who's going up? Who's coming down? Who's going to the bullpen? So during the month of April, a lot of things are going to change. And we don't have an easy schedule this year like we did last. We had a pretty easy May and June into July. August, late July, it started to get really difficult. Or coming out of the All-Star break, it was difficult. I think we faced the Orioles, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Yankees somewhere in there. It was a rough schedule. This season, it's kind of an equaled out schedule. You start. Pirates are a better team than they were last season, so I'm not going to say they're a bad team. But you have the Pirates, you have the Angels, who still have Mike Trout, who 2 home runs last night. Then we go to St. Louis. Then I think we go to New York or Chicago. I'm pretty sure it's New York. And then you come home for the 14th, I think, versus the Nationals. And then the Giants. I think that's the first 4 or 5 series. But you got to win series. We could still win this one, so it's not time to panic. On the LMF show, the hashtag LetsGetLouder podcast, we don't panic and we don't bash our team. We believe in our team. We are Marlins fans. We want to believe. We want them to win. And don't forget to get louder. Bring your instruments out to the stadium and get louder. A couple things I'm doing special on the PSF app, the Pro Sports app, PSF app. Download that, join, find my links on social media because I'm doing a lot of shows on there. There's a whole Marlins chat room. Would love to involve people. If you're not a Marlins fan watching this, they have every football team, every basketball team, every professional sports team has a representative like me doing some sort of show or chat room. So join the PSF app. That's not paid content, by the way. In the clutch promos, well, they sponsor me. As you see, I'm wearing, if you're watching the video, the Let's Get Louder shirt, LMF apparel, only available at intheclutch.com/LMF and use LMF at checkout. This has been the Let's Get Louder, or the hashtag Let's Get Louder LMF's podcast. Let's go Marlins. We're snapping out tonight. Get loud, get proud. I'll be at the stadium tomorrow. Let's frickin' go. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for listening or watching.